Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Saturdays in Stores podcast brought to you right here on the Crossover Media Network. My name is Kanaye Tesoro, and I did not have any intentions of uploading another video today. Of course, as you know, if you've already watched it, I previously recorded my reactions to UConn landing the commitment from Malachi Smith, the Dayton transfer earlier this week. That video I recorded, I want to say on Thursday, and it was uploaded this morning. So if you haven't seen that video yet, definitely be sure to check that out. I break down just some of my thoughts about what I thought was a really huge get for UConn in the portal, just to play that backup lead guard role. And I've also thrown out some more names I would like to see UConn target if Alex Caravan does not return. And I also briefly talked about Jaden Ross and Darius making their return. So definitely check that video out if you have not seen it and you are watching this right now. But yeah, again, I didn't have any intentions of recording an episode today until news came out that Darius Adams, one of UConn's 4-star, 5-star, depending on which service you're looking at, in terms of how they rank them. Darius Adams decommitted from UConn. He requested his release from the program and is reopening his commitment. That is definitely something that I wouldn't call the best news by any means at all, just considering you're losing a player that has really, really high upside. Of course, being an incoming McDonald's All-American freshman, and someone who really I never looked at as a one and done type of guy, but someone who 2-3 years down the road could have been really, really good here at UConn. And it is really unfortunate to see him decommit. But I'll talk about a little bit. I'll get into my initial reactions to it and just what I think kind of led to that and how this kind of affects the team. But before we get into that, if you like this podcast, if you like any of the other content you see on this channel, please do whatever you can to engage with our videos, whether that's liking it, subscribing to our channel, or just simply telling other people about it. It really does help with getting this content out to more people. So let's get right into it. Of course, around 3 hours ago at the time of this recording, so around 1 o'clock, maybe a little bit after, on Saturday, April 19th, the day of this recording, Darius Adams, via his Instagram, put out that he will request his release from UConn and will reopen his recruitment. And he, of course, put out a message thanking UConn's coaching staff and the fans for all the support that they showed him in the brief time that he was committed to play here. Now, it's definitely something that is shocking to me. I didn't expect him to decommit, but I think you could see a lot of the reasoning why, as to why he probably chose to do so. This week alone, I mean, like I just mentioned, I had a whole video breaking down the Malachi Smith commitment. He's a point guard that's coming in to probably play a role off the bench. And again, in that lead guard spot when Silas, who, again, another transfer who plays that guard position, it goes to the bench, of course. And then it's just a really crowded backcourt this year. And I definitely think, I don't know if maybe took it to offense is the right phrase to use here, but I definitely think Darius Adams maybe was caught a little bit off guard of UConn's aggressiveness in trying to address guard needs in the portal this offseason. Of course, landing Silas, who probably will be the starting point guard next year, and Malachi Smith, who's kind of going to be in that DR role from the last 2 years prior to this past season. And I mean, on top of that, you have the return of solo ball. You have Braylon Mullins, who I know this coaching staff has talked a lot about wanting to be a big contributor and piece to next year's team immediately. And, I definitely have my thoughts on that I've talked about. We'll see how that ends up working out. But yeah, I mean, on top of that, Darius Adams probably wouldn't play the point very much if in any minutes he would have seen in this upcoming season. He would probably be around the 2, the 3. And again, UConn's it's crowded in those spots too. Again, solo ball. You have Jalen Stewart, who is making his return, can definitely play the positions 2 through 4. I definitely think Jaden Ross kind of in that same situation as Jay Stu. Ross probably would be in a bench role. Stewart, I would like to think, starts next year. But again, on top of that, you also have Braylon Mullins, who, like I just mentioned, the coach staff thinks is going to be have a big impact right away. And you don't know what's going to happen with Caravan, and if UConn goes after another wing type of player, it just probably would have pushed Darius Adams' minutes. It probably would have pushed him further down the bench. I think that's what I was looking to say. And it's unfortunate because we're kind of in a state of college basketball. I mean, me and Josh recorded a really long episode this past week about how the current state of college basketball, it's all over the place right now. But you're seeing a lot of, I mean, there's one of the segments we had where we talked about how you're not seeing as many freshman stars in the sport. This year, we kind of started trending back in that direction with Cooper Flagg, Con Kneppel, Kaman Malawach, and of course the Rutgers freshman, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe. I mean, Liam McNeely, this at UConn, great example. But I just think teams really prioritize experience and guys who are proven in college already over, a lot of these freshmen that are coming in to the ranks of college basketball. And it is unfortunate, but I do think that regardless of landing Malachi Smith, you really did need to get a proven point guard who had played at the high major level, which is what they got with Silas Demery Jr. And I mean, that was the number one thing you needed to attack going into this offseason, getting a starting caliber point guard who has a chance to be a star, the next great UConn point guard, following in the footsteps of T. New. And, of course, Adam Malachi definitely takes minutes away from Darius Adams. And it is unfortunate how you're seeing less and less of freshmen who are coming in playing their first year of college basketball. If they're not playing right away, they're not getting the opportunities that they think they deserve. They kind of, I don't want to call anyone's character into question at all, and by no means am I trying to do this here. But a lot of times you have these McDonald's All-Americans, and they want to be on ball a lot. They want to be on the floor as much as they can, and they want to be big parts of the team. And a lot of times it's tough to have a McDonald's All-American sitting on your bench. I mean, the last 2 years, Lee McNeely was a starter. Stephon Castle was a starter. This year, UConn was bringing in 3 McDonald's All-Americans, if you include Adams in that fold. But now they have 2 with only Mullins and Eric Ryba. And I really don't know if any of those 3 were going to crack the starting lineup going into the next season. And of course, if I were to choose one, I would probably say Mullins starts, which of course takes away minutes from Adams. And if Ryba's just a different position, he plays at the 5, might play the 4. So that's not really, you don't really factor that into Adams' minutes in terms of how much he'd play. But you're seeing a lot less of patience across freshmen in the sport where they're not willing to kind of accept, okay, listen, I'm probably not going to be a one and done guy. I'm going to be someone who plays 2 to 3 years in college. And, this first year I might not play all too much. That's what we saw the year before this past season with Solo Ball, Jalen Stewart, Jay Ross, Yusuf Sangari. Those guys had to accept. I mean, they had moments like Solo Ball had to start when Stephon Castle went down with an injury early in the year. Jalen Stewart came on in the rotation late in the season, specifically in Big East tournament play and in the NCAA tournament. Yusuf Sangari really didn't play all too much the last 2 years at UConn. And of course, he just committed to High Point University. So definitely wish all the luck in the world to Yusuf there. But yeah, I mean, I think Adams and Jacob Furphy, who's coming over from Australia, I think those guys were probably not going to see all too much playing time next year. I definitely think there could have been spots where you look to put Adams in the game, just considering how much he can do off the dribble and create his own shot. I definitely did have concerns with, he definitely needs to physically mature a little bit. I think he definitely needs to get in the weight room a little bit. And that kind of concerned me, of course, being in the Big East in such a physical conference. I didn't know. And that goes for all the freshmen across this incoming class, where I worry a little bit about some of their physical makeups and how much they're going to be able to handle how aggressive and physical the Big East is. And I just don't know if they're going to be great right away. They're definitely going to be guys you need to kind of develop and have them come along over the process of the whole Big East regular season. So again, it is really unfortunate losing a guy as talented as Darius Adams. Like I just talked about, I didn't think he was going to be in a huge role this year. A lot of UConn fans definitely thought he was going to, but like I mentioned, I have concerns with this freshman class. Just I don't know how much they're going to be able to bring right off the bat. But yeah, it's unfortunate losing him. Of course, 4-star, 5-star. You never want to lose a kid who's ranked that high. Being from Jersey, really felt he was going to mesh well with Dan Hurley, and I think he did, but he just saw that he was going to lose a lot of the opportunities to get on the floor with UConn getting Silas Demery Jr. and Malachi Smith, and if who knows what else they could be looking to add going forward. But yeah, I mean, he chose UConn over Michigan State, Tennessee. I believe that was his top 3, according to Jeff Borzello, his ESPN article that I just read up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I know Alabama was in the running for him too. So those are definitely schools I would assume have established relationships with Darius Adams and will probably try to recruit him now that he has reopened his recruitment process and decommitted from Connecticut. But I think that pretty much takes care of all the thoughts I have. It's definitely a guy that I really was excited to see how he develops year to year. Like I mentioned, I really don't think anyone in this freshman class going into next season will be one and done. I think those are guys who could stay 2 to 3 years in school. And I definitely felt with probably what UConn loses after next season, he probably would have been in a much, much bigger role as a sophomore. And if he comes back for junior, definitely would probably be starting at that point. And I really felt that he could have been a really, really good college player. Just considering, again, really great shot maker. I do a lot off the dribble, get to his spots, elevate. And I mean, he's played great in the AAU circuits, had a great senior season at La Lumiere out in Indiana. And again, another Jersey kid that I really felt would have meshed well with Hurley. I think he did, of course, until he decommitted. Again, think that pretty much takes care of all my thoughts on this. In terms of what's to come, definitely going to be monitoring the Alex Caravan situation, just with the deadline to declare for the draft looming and coming up fairly quick. And of course, I am going to be monitoring who UConn might be looking at in terms of replacement for Caravan if he does go to the draft. And who knows, they might even try to add another guy in the wing, or maybe even get another guard now that they're losing Darius Adams. So I'll definitely be eager to see what goes on with all those things I just mentioned. Again, until the next episode, whenever that is, I will see you all next time.